Live. Okay.
Cool.
So, everybody, welcome to another installment. This is episode 8 of Limit Break, a podcast by Final Fantasy Radio. Um, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we discussed Final Fantasy 15, and we kind of gave it, you should play it, but don't kill yourself over it. I think that we all found things that we liked about it. I think there were things that we didn't like about it. Is it a $60 game? I don't know if I would have spent $60 again on it, but I think that it's worth a play at the end of the day, and I think that Scott and Jack, who now join me, and my cat's in the background too, so my cat's joining me as well.
Sure.
So I think that I think that it's worth a play. So Scott, aka Sixuchi, and Jack, aka Renadus. I am Joe, aka Helkaweth. Helk, mostly. That's how people refer to me. Let's dig right into what we're going to talk about today. And if you're watching on Twitch, cool. If you're not, whatever. You're listening to this, recorded. That's cool too. I mean, whatever. We all got things to do on Sundays. Today we're talking about the Zodiac Age, which will be released on July 11th of this year. Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, and we're all pretty excited. I speak for myself. I'm actually getting more excited this week on Monday because I have a lot of time off now. Because it's the summer, kids are out of school. I don't have to teach right now, so I'm now playing more video games. But in preparation for this podcast, I started playing Final Fantasy XII again. Just out of the blue, I streamed it and was talking about it while I was playing it. And I was, here's what I'm gonna do. I can remember playing getting Final Fantasy XII. I bought it from Target when the day that it was released, for the PlayStation 2. And I remember picking it up and being and putting it into my PlayStation 2, getting home, playing it, and being severely disappointed. And then I let it sit, and then I think I have it somewhere, my original copy, somewhere in my house. I will never find it, probably. I'm going to say 3 months ago, I was at a local video store. I'll give them a plug here, whatever. Nobody's going to go there because I said it. But State Line Video Games in Agawam near me. And I saw that they were selling they typically bundle things together. And they were selling the collector's edition of Final Fantasy XII bundled with a strategy guide for it. And I was like, it's a steelbook case, and it's a Final Fantasy game. Why would I not buy it? It was like $15 for the two things together. So, local video game stores are the best. I bought it, and I was like, this is going to just sit on the shelf, probably. And then because, the Zodiac Age is coming out, I'm like, you know what, I should kind of play it, just sink my teeth back into it. And holy crap, I enjoyed this game way more than I used to. What was it about this game that I did not like? But now I'm like, wow, this is a lot of fun, and I'm not minding it nearly as much. And I guess to kick it off, what were your previous impressions, of Final Fantasy XII? I've given mine kinda, but Jack, what was your experiences with Final Fantasy XII?
Wow. Your recap of it was very detailed. I have zero memory of the first time that I played Final Fantasy XII, which is probably a bad sign, right? That I don't really remember it. I don't remember going through it the first time, but I know I did. I went through it and I played it from beginning to end. Sans strategy guide or anything like that, which is how I normally play a Final Fantasy. Just go through it and try to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I did break it back out. Oh, geez, was it maybe a year ago? Maybe further than that. Mm-hmm. And just because I had never gone through and did the whole completionist run, which I like to do afterwards.
Yep.
So I did that. Like I think it might have been 2 years ago before I knew that Zodiac Age was going to be released and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, I do remember having fun with it. It's just it's never been on my top of Final Fantasy games,
Mm-hmm.
and I wonder if it was because it was such a departure from you look at 10 and then you look at 12 because I don't count 11 or 14 and really in that because they're separate
MMOs.
beasts.
Yep.
Sure. But you go from 10 to 12, and it's a pretty radical departure, especially in respects to combat, and the biggest thing being the elimination of random battles and the whole battle screen and everything.
Yep.
So yeah, that may have been part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been the fact that Vaughn and I don't get along. All that way. So I'm trying to play this game from the point of view of a character who I don't really care for.
Yep.
But that being said, it was pretty. Again, like we talked about last time, Square's never had a problem with that. They can make a beautiful game.
Yep.
So it was very good there, but just never really broke into the top ranks for me as far as Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I am excited for the re-release for reasons I figure we'll get into.
Yep.
But I am excited for it to come out.
So, and very cool. Scott, I have a feeling what you're going to say, but I want to actually hear it. So, go ahead.
Well, what's the question?
Well, just what are your previous experiences with 12?
Gotcha. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I ran through the whole game. It was an alright experience. Yeah, I'd have to say it was definitely different compared to the other Roman numeral titles. I kind of feel the way Jack feels on kind of 11 and 14 was MMOs. You know what I mean? Like they took a different direction for the Final Fantasy franchise.
Yep.
So when it came down to it, like I thought it was pretty unique. Like if you look back from the first original Final Fantasy all the way to 10, you just see this gradual improvement in such a short time frame. And then when 12 hit and it was released, you had the open world concept, like Jack said, very, very, very beautiful. Definitely, if they remastered it maybe even a year after the release date, they probably could have made a couple good dollars off that too. Other than that, when you're actually playing Final Fantasy XII, the original on PlayStation 2, I feel like the pixels are just very... Yeah, like 360p, 480p, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of it looks like PlayStation 2 quality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, the game was good. Like, guys, if you can't remember, like, they had a tremendous amount of hunts. Like, I'm talking, like, 100 hunts, like, way more than 15 had. So, I mean, they really tried to push the amount of time you could put in that game. And I think reading it was 128 hours realistically in Final Fantasy XII if you did all the extracurriculars, like Gilgamesh and stuff. So I think that was like their last attempt at the kind of the old nostalgic Final Fantasy games we might have all grown up together. You know what I mean? So, and then 13, and it just kind of went in a different direction.
Yeah.
But I don't know when.
Go that way. Go that way.
I can't deny it to you guys. I went on PlayStation 2 the other day, checked out my memory card, 102 hours on Final Fantasy XII. So I'm not trying to brag here, guys, but like I really did put time and effort back in the day to that game. So I don't know. I'm really stoked for Zodiac Age, but I kind of we'll get more into it when we
I opened the memory card because I had started playing it, just screwing around a couple of days ago. 217 hours in Final Fantasy XII.
Wow.
I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
What was I even? I have no idea. But yeah, 212.
On a side note,
or 217. Yeah.
On a side note, video games should never tell you how much time you spend in them. I think that I think that I can remember when it was like, oh, you can check how much time you've spent in Final Fantasy XIV, and then I did it, and I was like, never again.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go reevaluate my life now.
It's like so the average male lives 72 years, and
Stop.
that was it's like oh my God, I could start quantifying my age into Final Fantasy 14 time.
Sure.
That's pretty terrible. Whatever, it's my life.
Come on.
America. Anyway.
There you go.
Land of the brave.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, no, I think that so now we're fast forward to 2017, and like I said, I broke it out, started playing it, and I can remember being like, back when I started playing it, being like, I don't like that I don't do as much in combat. I can remember being like that, and I don't know if it's playing other games that like in combat you have an auto attack and it just automatically does it. But immediately I felt like, oh, this isn't any different than any game that I play nowadays where an auto attack just happens and I do other things during combat. Like I can throw a potion at someone or do something like that. And I think that's the thing that I think I couldn't get over when I first started playing 12, and now it's just like, yeah, this is great, and watching some of the different screenshots and everything of the Zodiac Age. This is gonna be a very pretty game. I'm very excited to see the re-release graphics. Just from my standpoint, obviously. But one thing that always, with 12, I think we can all accept that and Jack, you kind of touched on this a moment ago. With 12, you're accepting that the cast is not as strong as other Final Fantasies. Your team, first off, Vaughn, whatever, sure. You got to have somebody, here's a blonde protagonist that has hair kind of flipped up and uses a sword. There you go, that's your guy. And has weird painted on abs. I don't know what the hell's on.
Yeah,
very strange.
Old graphics really, and the funny thing is that I was playing it and I had it so that it was on. I have an ultra wide monitor, so I'm at a weird resolution. So, but the cool thing is that I can have half of it receive input from one thing and half of it receive input from another thing.
That's cool.
Which can give you 4:3 ratio, which is what that game is supposed to be played in.
Of course.
So it was looking correct when I was playing it, but it's still the look, like you said, the pixels are really. I mean, back then it must have been really gorgeous. Now it's a barf.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 graphics don't hold up well. The funny thing is that classic video games really hold up well. To today. Like Final Fantasy VI, beautiful game. Final Fantasy V, beautiful game. Final Fantasy XII, awful, dog crap.
Yep.
Just get it off my screen. And it's just because, it was designed in a manner in which this is the best graphical stuff that we have of today, and it doesn't hold up well because it's 3D in an era where 3D was, just being fully realized. So graphically, I'm looking forward to the upgrades in this game. The game looks like it's going to be really gorgeous. Because this is Final Fantasy Radio's podcast, we're going to talk about the music. Final Fantasy XII's music is freaking amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I know that Jack is making a face, so I want to go to Jack on this one and go.
Well, I mean, this was one of the ones where I can't point to a track on there where, it was something that really ever grabbed me. Mm-hmm. It never did. Like, I think we talked briefly last podcast about you could pick kind of this, this defining track for you for each game. 12 just didn't have it for me. Mm-hmm. And it was it brings the game down, I think. in the
Wow.
Comparing it to other Final Fantasy games.
I love it.
I think that's a weak point.
I love the fact that that Jack has a different opinion on the music than what
I respect it.
Yeah, no. And Scott, what's your thoughts on it?
Oh, come on, you already knew, like,
I knew.
the Esper theme, like,
Yep.
when you're fighting Bellius the first time with Vaughn, like, yeah, the characters are junky, but, oh, the music! Oh, like, Freedom of the Wings, oh, even I know we're just talking about 12, but Revenant Wings for the DS, they made beautiful DS music, like, they just killed it with 12, like, the whole 12 series, I feel like, but everyone's got an opinion, you know what I mean? I do remember, like, I did have sometimes, like, some Jack kind of nostalgia where it's like, okay, I'm not really remembering this track. I've heard it enough times, kind of pissing me off, but, like, the Espers, oh my god, Jack, like, the Esper theme, that, like, the gospel in the background, it just sounds so epic. Like, that was definitely memorable for me.
I think that one of the things is that for a lot of, like, the Royal City of Rabanastre is one of my more favorite, just kind of atmospheric tracks, because it's such a, it comes on the randomizer on the radio loves to play that song, and I don't mind hearing it, which is good. I think that while I don't think that maybe this is as strong of a soundtrack as others, I think that it's a quality soundtrack at the very least, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing hearing it in kind of full form, with the remake. Are we calling this a remake or a remake?
Yeah, let's be honest, it's a remaster.
I think it's remastered.
Yeah, are we calling this? Yeah, it's a remaster.
The definitions get muddy.
Because Final Fantasy
VII,
Final Fantasy VII is going to be a remake because it's
right.
being remade. But this is a remaster. Just like we could say that, Final Fantasy X going to HD has been remastered. So, and greetings to everyone on Twitch. Hey, Dark. Glad that you could make it. Just throwing a shout out to the people on Twitch that are hanging out and saying hi. So, I think that it's a quality. I think it's a quality. The funny thing is that I'll go back to this, is that the music is another character in the game. That Jack said this a while back, and I think that it bears repeating, and he's got me thinking now. I'm like, okay, is this thinking about the cast of characters in this game, I think that the music actually plays a more grandiose character than in maybe other games, because the cast is, I don't care about Vaughn, Fran, sure, whatever, bunny people are there, Balthier is, girls have crushes on him. I don't know.
Hey, I have a crush on Balthier.
Yeah, so,
yes,
I'll admit that.
Those eyes, let me tell you.
Right.
It's not a super, Penella, whatever. Sure. These are characters, and they're there, and whatever. I think that the music comes off as a stronger character than these characters. Maybe, I think that people love Bosch, but I don't know. I think that I'm gonna agree to disagree there. So as far as I started by talking about combat initially. So I think that I'm very excited for kind of the job system that they're going with. Because that's, I like the idea that you can do what you want in the game, but I like the idea of having kind of templates. I don't know, having templates as to what you work on. What do you guys think about that?
I think I'm looking forward to that probably the most.
Okay.
I've always been a fan of, like Final Fantasy III, Final Fantasy V, Tactics. I've always liked to play around, within the job confines, and it does take away from the fact that I can't make, all the characters be everything, which in certain battles in 12, especially some of the more advanced hunts, I have no idea how I'm going to pull that off because that was imperative to have 3 people who were equally awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now I'm going to be restricted a little bit in what those 3 people can do. But I like the idea of really assigning them jobs more that are in line with their characters' personalities, and that to me gives the personalities a little more weight.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I see that.
Yeah. So then I can really make Vaughn a thief because Vaughn is supposed to be a thief.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the whole point.
Yep.
And then maybe that would bring him up a little bit.
Yeah.
If that
Out of the
makes
contrasts. Yeah.
right, as opposed to he's just going to get lost in the shuffle when everybody's awesome.
Yes.
Yep.
And then it's like, why is Vaughn even here? Go sit in the corner and spray tan your abs or whatever it is you're going to do. So that to me, I'm looking forward to. I think it's really interesting that you have the international version that had the 12 jobs.
Yep.
Corresponding to Zodiac sign. That's where they get the name. But this one is going to have it where characters can have 2 classes. And I'm really interested in how that's going to work and what the restrictions are going to be on that. So I'm very excited about the job system.
Scott?
Damn, Jack, you just killed it. Like
You guys talked before this?
At first I was looking at it, I was like, no way. The job system just restricts you to certain magic, green, arcane magic. You know what I mean? You're stuck in a little bubble. But then the way you said about the characters' contrast and just like Vaughn actually being a thief in class, I really think that touched something. So I don't know. I guess it does make it more difficult in that sense when you're doing combat because you're forcefully going to have to change classes here. If someone's not affected by magic, well, you got to get the warriors out. You know what I mean? So I understand in that sense, but I don't know. When I played 12, that was the best part is you could literally, OP yourself, overpower yourself, and just have, 3 or 4 characters who just had all types of magic, the whole list just stacked with all the different styles. So I thought that was cool, but I don't know if I'm so much down for the limiting it. I don't know. To be honest, what kind of got me the most in the combat stuff was just they finally allow you to control the guest party, and you're going to be also to be able to fully control the summons. So you got obviously all the cool summons, Belias, all those guys. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun too. But I don't know. I really, Jack, you said that. I just kind of thought to myself, I was like, I guess in some way it's like you see characters, but I wanted to be OP, I guess.
I think that restriction can either help out a game or it can hurt a game. And sometimes, and this could be a telling thing in this game. So it could be like, hey, this kind of sucks, that I can't do what I used to do, or hey, this is kind of cool because I can, I have to work within the confines of what I'm given. Because let's face it, if we're going to look at characters as a whole, they're not going to be it's not like you can eventually become this invincible, juggernaut. Everybody is limited by what they are except for Goku from Dragon Ball.
Pretty much.
Because it's just, just kill him like another time and then he comes back and he's stronger and he's found another power that he can tap into. That's him. But we all, if you're going to put me in a game, everyone has their limits as to what they can do. And Konzo finally followed me on Twitch. Thank you so much, Konzo. I feel so honored to be followed by Konzo on Twitch, who is constantly in the radio chat room.
I was very excited when he friended me on PSN.
God.
That made my day.
I'm just it's like these people from Europe it's like 8:00 over there. I have, you guys are on Twitch watching us. So, thank you.
Yes.
but anyways, I think that could really, when you put yourself in the game and you think of, okay, in real life terms, okay, could somebody do everything?
No.
We all can't do everything. It's cool to think that, okay, my guy can hold a sword and and also use all this magic and everything. And okay, that's great, but in practice, that doesn't, we wouldn't see that. You would study magic and,
Yep.
carry a cane or, whatever. And going back to older Final Fantasies, I liked Final Fantasy VI because, like, you could equip certain swords to certain characters if you gave them an item that allowed them to carry heavier swords or something like that, So you were, it wasn't like, this person can use this and they're totally OP, except for Terra. Terra was OP.
Yeah, no.
Jesus. Okay, best weapons, best armor, magic.
Esther.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Esther.
But then looking back on, the games that I love, that the most and everybody says this is the most underrated Final Fantasy ever. Final Fantasy V, we're always
Hearts.
It's such the job system in 5 really makes that game fun.
Yes.
And it because it really, I mean, the story is okay. Five's story is okay. It's not tremendous, it's not terrible. But the job system is fun because it's like, oh, what am I going to make this person? What jobs am I getting next? If you're blind playing it, you want crystals to break so that you can get jobs, but that's the end of the world as that. It's kind of
a trade-off.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
want cool jobs. Break the crystals. Let's see how far we could ride this minecart down to Doom. It's like, but I think that's going to be a cool thing because then you kind of are restricted to what your choices are. You start building these characters into what you want them to be, and okay, those are your choices. I was watching the trailer today, and it was funny. It was one of the trailers, one of the explanation trailers, and it was like, there are two types of people: those who love the Gambit system and those who don't know they love it yet. And I was like, yeah, that was me like years ago.
That's well put. I like that.
I was like, when they started saying it, I'm like, are they gonna say those that don't? I'm like, this is gonna be an awkward moment for Square. But no, I thought that was. I think that it's. I think that the job system's gonna be fun. As far as the world of 12, I've always thought the world was so cool, and I liked that battles weren't random. I like that in a game, and going back to going back to what we the Marmot system, going back to what older games, Chrono Trigger was very good at. Yeah, you don't have random battles. All the enemies are on screen, really. And if you run into the enemies, they're going to engage you. Sometimes you have to engage enemies no matter what. But, and same thing in 12. And I like that it's like, I know, okay, I want to get through this area. I'm just going to keep on fleeing from enemies instead of having to go, it going bloop, bloop, and you go into a battle and you're like, just let me get out of here. I just want to leave. It's like, Jack, you were saying that it was a stray from obviously the random encounters and everything. Do either of you see that as a positive? I see it as a grand positive because I hate just being like running through an area and suddenly just all right, here we go, and now I got to fight this random thing that sure. There was a tiger in this hallway, and we just, ran into it suddenly. I don't know. Random encounter, random battles are fine for what they had to do, but I think that, when you're creating an immersive game, the enemies are running around in the area, or the monsters are walking around in the area, and you have to kind of encounter them as they are there. That's how I feel about it. Immersion is a big part of video games, and in RPGs, immersion is supposed to be the big thing, but sometimes immersion doesn't happen as well as we'd like to think about it. What do you guys think? What do we think about that?
I I think exactly I don't know. I think random battle encounters were good for its day and age, but as we progressively move, and games are built on terabytes now, guys, not gigabytes. That's not the big thing anymore. So I definitely agree with you, Hulk. When it comes to immersion, you need to have a full layout already planned out, so then the user, us gamers, can decide, okay, maybe I want to fight that and go train, maybe I have to go to theater, or I want to go in this direction, and especially with a game with 12, which is just, let's be real, it's just Ivalice is an open world concept. That's what they really tried to put so much effort into. So I definitely do agree with you. I think having random battle encounters in such a beautiful, huge open environment would just defeat the purpose of the environment, because you'd just be walk. Oh, random battle, guys. Oh, now you're back in the environment. I feel like in 2017 we should definitely, if Square Enix is going to produce a game, please put the time and effort. Don't just keep popping them out like they're babies,
And I think we see that, and sorry, I'm jumping in front of you, Jack, but I think we see that with 15, where it's not random encounters. It's but you kind of do get that though with the freaking soldiers just dropping from the sky every now and again. It's like, god damn it, seriously, come on, oh, look out, they see us, we're in the middle of all this brush, but they could see us, because
logic.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, here we go, we got to fight these, because that's a random encounter, in my opinion. It's like, you just dropped the enemy on me. Okay, now I have to fight them. Thank you. Dicks.
What do you think, Jeff?
Sorry. I get so heated about that one. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
I think it's a good thing for the same reasons you guys have said. Immersion, I think it's important. I think that's, like Scott was saying, that's just the direction that we're going, and I think that's all true and good. I think it was scary for a lot of people to have 10 games of random encounters, and that being just kind of a staple of RPGs at the time, even though some games deviated from that. And then going from that to, wait, there's animals already out there, that this isn't right, this feels weird, I don't know what to do with myself. I think it was scary for people, and I was weirded out by it too, but I think it was a good move, and I think it was for the best. And I mean, talking about the immersion, I remember running it was either the Easter Sand or Western Sand from Dalmasca with the T-Rex.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, there's a wolf, and here I'm going to go get this wolf, and the T-Rex comes by and eats the damn wolf. I'm like, whoa, okay, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was also something that I could feasibly see happening, and as I'm chasing down this wolf, that something bigger and better than me comes by and eats it.
A bigger predator.
Yes.
Just walked through, and it was like, hey, I'm the apex predator here, guys.
Yeah.
That
could happen, right?
That's one of those holy shit moments, but it's a real moment that you would, and I think that can be appreciated in a game like this, because it takes, I think that's cool. Yeah, no. Okay, so let's see, what else were we going to touch on? Okay. Story. That was my next thought. So I'm not going to touch this. I want to be the last one to talk about it. I want to see, Scott, what do you think?
All right. Oh man. It's just I don't know.
I think there's an empire in here. I think we have another empire, guys.
Yeah, pretty
now,
much.
we're not fighting against that empire, are we?
Is there an empire that we have to fight against? Jesus.
Come on
there's
now.
Always. It's a Final Fantasy game. You're always fighting against an empire. It's a, it's okay. But anyways, so go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, let's just be real. Like the beginning, like Rex, I don't know. That's just a huge, confusing, controversial topic. It's like, okay, you're kind of getting revenge being Vaughn, because you're doing this for Rex. I don't know, guys. And then there's Vossler, then there's Vane, then there's all these judges. Like, it just seems like a really big political shit show. I don't mean to be so nitty gritty with it, but when you're I'm Captain Bosch of von Ronsenberg Dalmasca, like, notoriety, really? We're gonna have to do notoriety again? Oh, geez, like I don't know, like the story just didn't stick. I had more fun just doing the extracurriculars, chasing down the summons, acquiring them all. This story really doesn't, to my perspective, it doesn't really hold up that well. Over a bit, you just kind of get lost with the environment, and you're like, oh, what? We're cutting the sun crest? Oh, okay, well, that's what we're doing now. And there's like a god. Huh? You know what I mean? It's like one of those moments. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, Jack?
It's twofold for me. The positive version, and I think I've said this before, like with Final Fantasy Tactics, I love the medieval political intrigue. I want poison daggers in people's backs. I want a twin brother impersonating his brother so that he can throw off the other kingdom. I want all of that. That's great. I could get rid of all of the demons and all the monsters and everything and just stick with the political intrigue, and I think that would be great. On the other hand, where else? First off, have you seen fighting an evil empire, but then having this kind of street rat farm boy guy getting wrapped up in a battle against the empire with a sky pirate, a less than human co-pilot who fly around fighting the empire, a princess who's strong but in trouble fighting an empire, and there's two guys named Biggs and Wedge. I mean, we're really rehashing Star Wars here, people. I mean, it's where does that line get drawn between homage and straight up ripoff? But yeah, so there was a story that we've heard before a lot, but I still do enjoy the political intrigue of it, and
all that nethicite, eh?
Yeah. What I'll say about it is that it's a story. It's there, and I don't particularly hate it. I don't particularly love it. I think that it's not the strong. If I was building a table named Final Fantasy XII, it might not be one of the legs I have it to stand on.
That's a really good way of looking at it.
That was weird putting it.
I think that there's a whole lot of other things that I would put on it. I would have it to hold up, but I think that I think that it's just like, okay, well, we got an empire because that's what we need, and they're the bad guys, and we're gonna have some political intrigue, and we're gonna have a whole lot of just different, and I think that. Here's a story, sure. Well, you know what? It works, and I'll live with it. I like it more than 13's story. I like it. There, yeah. I mean, shots fired, right?
Gosh, all right.
I don't know if we want to go down that road or not.
Let's not. We don't have enough time this week for me to do that. And like I said, maybe in like 10 years, I'll appreciate 13 a little bit more, but not yet. So it's got a few more years on it. Anyways, so story is okay. I think that there's some kind of playing around there. Let's see, what else do we have? Just the open world. I like the world as a whole. It feels realized. It feels good. It feels when you're walking around, it seems like they know what they did. Like they knew what they were doing, which I think compared to other games that and immediately when I go to, because I'm thinking of the next one in line is 13, where everybody's like, oh, well, it gets to open world about 20 hours in. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't give a shit 20 hours in. You have to get me in 10 hours, at least, at the very most. That's what I'm giving
most,
it.
Yeah.
With 12, I feel like, okay, I can go do this stuff, or I could go do that right now. It doesn't really matter. It felt like 12 gives you options, whereas with 13, I felt like I was walking down a hallway. I felt like, and I'll always say that, Final Fantasy, the hallway. I like 13's battle system, but I don't care for the story or the or the lack of options. I think that 12 gives you a lot of options, and sometimes options can be overwhelming. But I think that we're becoming, I think that, and maybe that was something that I didn't like about 12 early on, but now I think I really appreciate it about 12 now, because I like having this openness. I like being able to, sandbox games are becoming, and this is not a sandbox game, but I like kind of playing around and just, and just experiencing whatever's happening over here, and go over there and do that. I guess that would make it more theme parkish, but what were you guys thinking?
Yeah, the same for me. I do appreciate the openness of it, the fact that there are certain things that you can do in any orders. The hunts probably being one of the better examples that you can go out of your way to complete a hunt that maybe you weren't supposed to yet. The game didn't really intend you to do that yet, but you can. Maybe you get a good item out of it that you wouldn't have gotten at that time and would help you out in the next dungeon that you go through. Mm-hmm. And the little side quests here and there that you can do at different times. I appreciate that more than, say, a hallway of some games. And in some ways, at least with the world itself, when you have the bigger cities that were really realized, it kind of took out, say, Final Fantasy XV, where you really only had kind of 2 cities, I guess you could say, that you could explore that felt like cities.
Yeah.
And maybe that was part of it. Maybe that was part of it being a war and things like that. And maybe that was at least some of it. Yep. The fact that there were a lot of unused assets for like Imperial areas and things like that makes me think that maybe that wasn't the plan, and that initially it might have been a little bit bigger until whatever happened. Yep. But 12 I think was a very developed world, and it felt developed and it felt real. It felt like it was alive, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, beautiful open world concept, different areas. I remember even in the original 12, you go from area to area in the Giza Plains, and the loading time was like 1 or 2 seconds. The day and night stuff, so Giza Plains would be raining at some point, then it would be a dry season. I thought that was really intuitive. And then like Libra, remember you'd have to use Libra in order to scout out, if the traps were visually seen to your characters. I really think they really tried to take the open world concept from in the Final Fantasy series and really tried to bet all the money on it, so to say. Where some of the other stuff, the music was alright, we touched on it already, and I think it was just really the open world concept that kind of just captivated me more or less than even the Gambit system. It is what it is, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know, that's my collective thoughts on it. The CGI looks very similar to the original. If you guys actually check out the pixelation, it's only a small difference. So
yeah, right.
Those are the things that make me think, is Square Enix trying to really fulfill our needs in this game, or are they just trying to... You know what I mean? You never really tell. I don't know. I love Square Enix, but damn, they're unusual sometimes.
A little bit. I would say, here's a, on a side note, I wasn't aware of this, but I was looking through the PlayStation store, PlayStation PSN store, and you can buy swords for Final Fantasy 15 if you want, for like 50 cents. I'm like,
okay. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just like, oh, guys, why?
Like, you can get Gabe Olg from Final Fantasy 14, for 50 cents. Here you go, just have that ugly ass spear, Sure. Whatever.
That being said, though, that to me is a quote-unquote appropriate use of DLC.
That is
where if you that's your thing, and that was the greatest weapon you ever had in Final Fantasy XIV, and you want that damn spear, you can go get it. Not if you actually want to hear more of the story, you have to pay for it now.
I
will have DLC all day long with weapons that you don't necessarily need. Yeah, car decals, awesome. Different outfits, whatever. Not story stuff.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
just like major cash grab.
I agree. I can buy into that. So, all right. I think that we're gonna start kind of getting to the end of this. So, real question here. This is the big one. The $200 collector's edition.
Oh,
Are
God.
either one of you buying it?
Oh, God.
I'm ashamed to admit that I am.
Oh, I didn't think that you were. Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I will say that it was
Looks pretty cool.
It does look cool. I was really on the fence, and my wife was like, "Well, no, just do it. Just do it. Just get it."
Well, cool.
It's like, okay. You twisted my arm. So I will have a judge bust, I think.
Judge bust
Somewhere.
Yep. Judge
Yeah.
bust somewhere for the next podcast, or I will have one before then. So
Yeah.
but for another
Just have
podcast,
it.
sometimes just
We'll have it set
have
up.
it just like right in. When I connect to you on Skype, it's just right there.
Right. I'll just be off screen, and it'll
Yep.
be like the bust is talking.
Yep. No, that'll be good. So, Scott, are you buying it?
The credit transaction's been made. I don't know if it's worth it, but we'll see. I guess I don't know.
You guys are brave,
Well, square-enix just like completely has us, like on a leash. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna take all your money. I might.
Seriously.
I'm gonna buy this.
Take my card.
I'm gonna
please.
buy the Steelbook, but I think that's pretty much it. I think that, I like it, but I don't like it enough to, I'm really getting back into it, but I'm not gonna get back into it enough to be like, yeah, I'm gonna spend $200. Jesus Christ, you guys are nuts.
Yes.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So
I fully admit.
So, final thoughts. I think that we're all kind of excited for this. I think that it'll be a fun game to get into and start really kind of playing away at it. I think that it's going to be the same game, so I'm not anticipating any different feelings. But I think that putting it on the PS4, getting updated visuals and updated just an updated job system. I think it's gonna be maybe a sort of different experience from what we're used to, and I look forward to that. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, the same. I'm like I said, definitely looking forward to the job system. I'm really wanting to see how that's going to affect it and change it, and I do think it will be a different experience. As you said, maybe might make it worse, but it could add a new dimension to it too. So I'm excited for that.
Cool, Scott.
I'm excited about everything, but they better have that super boss. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That hellworm.
Oh my gosh.
That hellworm. I spent 4 hours fighting that thing. They better have it
Yes.
in there.
Yeah, seriously, like 4 hours.
Yeah, you remember, Jack? Like, it's ridiculous. That thing's just so OP. Like,
Oh yeah, I paused and walked away several times
yeah, pretty much.
to
I'm
keep
like,
me
all
from
right,
turning it off.
You need
Yep,
a bathroom
helped
break
you.
in the middle of
Yeah.
a boss. That's great.
Oh,
hellworm. Come on.
So, I guess in July we'll figure out if Hellworm's there. So we'll have to check that out. So let's wrap this up, and Jack, Scott, thank you guys so much. He is Sixuchi. He is Rinadas. I am Helkaweth. This has been Limit Break, and we look forward to seeing you on next episode. I don't think we have an actual topic for discussion yet, but we will definitely have one very soon. So to everybody on Twitch, thank you so much for tuning in with us, and you can find us on podcasts. Oh my God, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you listen to podcasts on. And you can also rewatch this video. I'll put them on YouTube and everything, so feel free to do that as well. So, alrighty, guys, it's been fun. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
all right. Have a good one.
All right.
See you guys.
Take care. Bye.